Welcome to Beyond the Comfort Zone Talking Shit with KING-KAMBUF. Today we are getting into what is, it's really the foundational piece for scaling on Amazon. We're talking step by step. How to find solid wholesalers for Amazon resell. If you've spent any time at all selling, especially if you're trying to move beyond, scanning stuff at Target, you know that terror,
Oh, yeah.
the inauthentic claim, that one word. Inauthentic. It can just kill your best ASA, get your account reviewed.
Drains all your confidence.
It's this existential fear, right? Because Amazon's system is built for brands, not for us.
And that fear is, look, it's completely justified. What a lot of sellers don't get is that Amazon isn't just asking, is this soap real?
Right.
They're asking, can you prove its entire journey with paperwork that we approve of? So our whole mission today is to pull you out of that gray zone.
Out of the sketchy closeouts and retail receipts.
Exactly. And into real, verifiable business-to-business relationships. We're going to give you a super clear 7-step process, plus the compliance rules you can't ignore. Especially for the tricky stuff like health and beauty.
We're using soaps, right? Dial and Dove is the main example.
Yeah, because they're perfect. They illustrate all the problems with global supply chains that trip people up.
Now let's just, right at the top, let's smash the biggest myth. You're probably thinking, great, just give me the magic list of Amazon-approved distributors.
I wish.
That list does not exist. It's not a thing. Amazon doesn't publish some, golden Rolodex.
Yep.
They care about two things. One, do your invoices meet their very specific standards? And two, is your supply chain clean and provable? That's it.
They're auditors. They're not validators. They care about the paper trail, which brings us right to the first hurdle for almost every new seller.
Okay.
That product that shows up and it says made in Mexico or made in Colombia.
Yeah.
And you're listing on Amazon.com.
The panic sets in.
Right. The immediate thought is, oh no, this is gray market. I can't sell this.
So let's drill right into that. I've got a pallet of dial soap. The box says Hecho en Mexico. Is that a hard no? Am I done? Or is there, nuance here?
Huge nuance. The fact that it was made in Mexico is not the problem.
Okay.
The problem is a supply chain mismatch and maybe, just maybe, a listing mismatch. You have to accept that massive companies like Henkel, who owns Dial, or Unilever, who owns Dove, they make stuff all over the world.
Sure, for efficiency.
Right. So seeing made in Mexico is totally normal if, and this is the big if that specific version was officially imported for the U.S. market through the right channels.
So the question I should be asking my wholesaler isn't, where was this made?
Yeah.
It should be, did you get this from a legit U.S. distributor who got it from Henkel for the U.S. market, not from some, European broker who had extra stock?
That is the absolute core distinction.
Yeah.
If the supply is legit and the product is a perfect match for the ASIN, you're fine. The second you buy the version made for the Latin American market,
With the Spanish packaging.
with Spanish labeling, metric weights, and you try to list it under the U.S. ASIN, that's when the whole system breaks down. And that's when Amazon calls it mismatched and maybe inauthentic.
Okay, let's unpack that with total precision, using our soap examples. Before you even think about buying, you've said there are 3 non-negotiables. The triad of authenticity. First, a legit B2B supply source. We've touched on that. Second, the product has to be an exact match to the ASIN, pixel for pixel. And third, U.S. labeling compliance.
And that second point, the exact match, that's the one. That is where most sellers get burned because of these global brands.
Right.
Yes, Dial makes soap in Mexico, but there's probably a SKU they make there for the U.S. market with English-only or compliant bilingual labels and a US UPC code.
I see.
The problem is when a seller buys gray market stock that was never, ever meant to be sold in the United States.
Let's really hammer on this ASIN match thing, because that's what the computer flags, right? The bots. Listing on Amazon, it's not like you're selling Dial soap. You're selling against a very specific ASIN. So what are the details that have to be perfect?
Everything. And I mean everything. The brand, obviously.
Yeah.
The specific scent. Is it Dove White or Dove Sensitive Skin? The physical size.
Okay, the size is a big one.
It's huge. You have to watch the difference between imperial and metric. If the U.S. listing says 4-ounce bar and your product is labeled 110 grams,
Which is pretty much the same weight.
it's close enough. But that G for grams often signals it's international stock. That is a massive red flag. Then you have back count. And the single most important thing, the UPC, the barcode, has to be identical to what's registered to that ASIN.
Hold on, let me push back on that. What if the barcode, the UPC, is identical, but the package says 110 grams instead of 4 ounces? Is that still a problem?
Yes, 100%. And here's why. Amazon's system, and more importantly, U.S. federal law, require certain compliance. If the listing is billed for a U.S. product that needs 4 ounces on the label for FDA rules, and yours says 110G, that's an ASIN detail page violation.
Wow, okay.
And even if the bot doesn't catch it, a customer will. A savvy buyer gets it and says, hey, this isn't what's pictured, and files an item not as described complaint.
And that complaint triggers the request for invoices.
And if your invoices are from a weird source, that's how not as described turns into inauthentic. The 2 violations work together to get you suspended.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. You're not just trying to please Amazon, you're trying to meet the expectation of a U.S. customer who expects U.S. packaging.
You have to. So the risk we see all the time is listing these international versions with heavy Spanish text or metric weights under a U.S.-only ASIN. That is the literal definition of a gray market violation. The brand owner finds it, they file an IP complaint, and you're cooked.
And when that complaint lands, especially in a category like health and beauty, Amazon hits you with that request for proof.
Yep.
And that's where the invoice comes in. It's your only shield.
It is your one and only line of defense, and it has to be perfect.
Yep.
It needs to look like a real commercial document.
Yep.
It has to show, first, your information.
My business now.
Your exact business name and address, just like it is in Seller Central. If your account is ABC Resale LLC and the invoice says John Smith, it's an instant fail.
Gotcha.
Second, the supplier's info. Their full legal name, address, phone, a website. Amazon needs to be able to call them up. And third, the itemized details. The SKUs and the quantities. And for ungating, remember, they want to see at least 10 units of an item to prove it was a real commercial buy.
So the paper trail has to be commercial, not retail. A receipt from a cash and carry is not going to cut it.
Never. So if the product was made overseas but sold by a legit U.S. distributor, that's fine because the invoice trail is clean. What's not fine is a sketchy source with a weak invoice.
This all boils down to a checklist then. Before I buy anything, what are the checks I need to run?
Okay, let's make this a simple 4-point decision list. You run this on any potential product from any U.S. wholesaler.
Okay.
1, B2B legitimacy. Is this a real U.S. B2B operation? Do they ask for your resale certificate? Do they have minimum orders? If your grandma can walk in and buy something, it's not a wholesaler. Walk away.
Right.
2, ASN, exact match. Does the product UPC, size, ounces versus grams, language, everything, perfectly match the ASN you want to sell on?
Number 3.
3, U.S. labeling compliance. Is the packaging good for U.S. sale? Does it have ingredients in English? The net weight. Bilingual's usually fine, but if it's mostly in another language, that's a red flag.
And the last one has to be the invoice.
4, clean commercial invoice. Can they guarantee up front that the invoice will have all those details we just talked about? Your info, their info, itemized quantities.
4 yeses, and you can move forward. Even 1 no. Yeah, and you stop.
You stop. Which means, and this is the actionable part, you have to get a physical sample, or at least crystal clear pictures of the barcode and all sides of the box.
And compare it yourself.
You compare it side by side with the Amazon listing before you even think about placing a bulk order. That's your insurance policy. You do that work up front, and you slash your risk of getting your account suspended later.
Okay, that compliance foundation, as strict as it is, it's really the key to the whole thing.
It's everything.
Now that we know what kind of paper Amazon wants to see, how do we actually go find the companies that provide it? This is the 7-step sourcing game plan.
Right, the practical part.
And step 1 is something I know I skipped when I first started. It's so tempting to just dive in. But step 1 is pick your brands and check their rules.
Yes.
Before you waste a single minute on directories, you need a list. 10, 20 brands or specific ASNs you think you can make money on. Then you go to the brand's official website.
You are looking for their rules on reselling. This is non-negotiable. Look for a dealer agreement or an FAQ, anything that says authorized dealers only or no Amazon resellers.
Or sold only by the brand.
If you see that, you cross that brand off your list and you move on. I don't care if the profit margins look like $1 million.
Right.
If the brand actively polices Amazon, they will do a test buy, find you, and file an IP complaint. You cannot win.
Especially in our category, health and beauty. These brands are often super protective. They might demand you get a letter of authorization, an LOA, just to sell on Amazon. You got to know that before you start.
Absolutely. So once you have your safe list, then you move to step 2, which is using wholesale directories for discovery.
Okay.
And think of these like search engines for B2B. They're a starting point, not the final answer. You still have to vet every single one.
So what are the main ones?
There are a few types. You've got the general ones like Wholesale Central. It's popular. It's been around. And it sometimes has a dedicated Amazon FBA section, which can be helpful. Then you have the paid pre-vetted ones, like SaleHoo or worldwide brands. You pay a fee, and they give you a list of suppliers they claim to have checked out. It can be a good starting point, but the inventory can be limited.
What about getting closer to the source, to the manufacturer?
That's where something like ThomasNet comes in. It's more for U.S. manufacturers, industrial suppliers. This is where you might find those big janitorial supply companies we'll talk about later, the ones that carry commercial-grade dial soap.
And then there's the newer stuff, right? Like Fair.
Exactly. A marketplace like Fair is amazing for smaller boutique brands. But, and this is a huge but, most of those small brands absolutely forbid selling on Amazon. They don't want their prices getting crushed. You have to ask for explicit permission.
Okay, so that brings us to step 3, which feels like a more modern approach, targeting FBA-focused wholesalers.
Yeah, the game has changed. A whole cottage industry has popped up of suppliers who only serve Amazon sellers. They get it. They understand the paperwork.
We're seeing some names pop up again and again. You hear about the elite wholesale or master distributor. They literally market themselves as FBA compliant.
They do. And for bulk goods, you have dollar days, but you have to be so careful with expiration dates there. And then there's Empire Distributor, who often focuses on fast-moving consumer goods priced for FBA.
But let's be super clear. I want to repeat this. Just because they say they're FBA focused does not mean they are officially Amazon approved.
Not at all. There is no such thing.
Okay.
But because their whole business is built to meet the standards we talked about, clean invoices, itemized details, they give you a huge advantage. They speak the language.
Which leads right into step 4, which is probably the most important conversation you'll have. Confirming they are Amazon safe suppliers. This is the vetting call you make before you even apply for an account.
Right. This isn't about price. This is about risks.
So what are the questions? What do I ask?
Yeah. You need to ask 4 things professionally. 1, are you an authorized distributor for brand X? For a big brand like Dove, they need to say yes confidently. If they get weird and say, well, we buy from a guy who knows a guy.
Red flag.
Huge red flag. That's the gray market talking.
Okay, but how do I know they're not just lying? If I'm new, how can I really know they're authorized for dial? They could be getting it from anywhere. What proof can I actually ask for?
That's a great question, and it gets to the heart of the risk. You can't ask to see their contract with Henkel. They'll never show you that.
Right.
But you look for clues. You cross-reference. Go to the Dial Professional website. Do they have a where to buy page for commercial accounts? Is this supplier listed there?
Oh, good idea.
Check their LinkedIn. Do they present themselves professionally? If they claim to be a master distributor for Unilever, their whole business should reflect that. If you ask them for references and they hesitate, that hesitation tells you everything you need to know. Their supply chain is probably weak.
Okay, what's question 2?
Do you allow your customers to sell on Amazon? Just ask it directly. If they say no, respect it and move on.
Number 3.
Will your invoices include our full legal business name and address, along with itemized quantities consistent with Amazon's requirements? You have to be that specific. And you need to confirm they'll show at least 10 units per SKU.
And the 4th one is more of a vibe check, right?
Yeah, it's a signal check.
Yeah.
Have other customers successfully used your invoices with Amazon for ungating or authenticity claims? A confident yes tells you they know the drill.
And on that call, what are the immediate red flags, the things that make you just hang up the phone?
If they won't put their full legal info on an invoice, if the prices are just stupidly low, like too good to be true pricing is the #1 sign of diverted or counterfeit goods.
You've seen that happen.
I had a client find a major shampoo brand for 70% off. It was incredible. Turns out it was from a batch that was recalled in Canada 5 years earlier for contamination. That vetting call saved his account from a massive lawsuit.
Wow. Okay. That drives it home. So once you find a place that passes the vetting, you move to step 5, opening the account.
Right. And a legit place will ask for your documents. Your LLC formation, your resale certificate. They need to prove you're a real business.
And when you fill out their forms, how do you describe your business?
Be professional and honest. Online retail company selling on multiple channels, including marketplaces, or multi-channel CPG distributor. Don't say, I'm a new FBA seller trying to make a quick buck. Sound like a serious commercial partner.
Then comes step 6, which is so critical, the test order process.
Never, ever go all in on a new supplier.
Never.
Order small, 10 to 30 units of just 1 or 2 things. It's enough to meet that 10-unit ungating minimum, but it keeps your risk low if something goes wrong.
And the second that order arrives.
You're not looking at the products first. You're looking at the invoice. Is it dated correctly? Does it have all the info? Does it show at least 10 units? This invoice is your proof of concept. If it's clean, you can proceed. If it's not, you've only lost the cost of a few samples.
And only after they've proven themselves good stock, clean invoices, maybe you even used one to ungate a brand. Only then do you get to step 7.
Scaling and negotiation. Now you're a valuable client, not just a tester.
This is when you can start talking about better pricing.
Better pricing, volume discounts. You can ask for their full catalog of Amazon-safe brands. You build a reorder rhythm. This is how you turn a lead into a long-term, low-risk supply chain partner.
Okay, let's get super specific now. Let's apply this whole 7-step plan to our case studies, Dial and Dove. Because sourcing in health and beauty, it just requires a different level of care.
It does. The risk is higher, so your sourcing has to be stronger. We need to think in terms of a supply chain hierarchy.
Meaning?
We rank sources from strongest and safest to weakest and riskiest.
Okay.
Level 1, the absolute gold standard, is sourcing directly from the brand's B2B channel. The paper trail is 1 step long. It's unimpeachable.
Level 2.
Authorized master distributors. Or large janitorial, food service, or beauty distributors. These are the huge companies that buy directly from the brand and then sell to smaller wholesalers. Their invoices are almost as good as the brand's.
And level 3, the riskiest.
Bulk or overstock wholesalers. These guys are often buying closeouts or excess inventory from level 2 distributors. They're the furthest from the source, so you have to vet them the hardest.
You just made a distinction that's important. Master distributor versus just a regular wholesaler. For a small seller, why does that matter so much?
It matters for the audit trail. A master distributor has a direct contract with Unilever. Their paper is solid. A standard wholesaler buys from that master distributor. If Amazon audits you, they prefer to see the invoice from the master.
Ah.
If you use the standard wholesaler, Amazon might go a step further and ask them for proof of their supply. The closer you are to level 1, the fewer questions you'll get.
Okay, let's apply this. Case study A, Dial, owned by Henkel. Where does a new seller even start to find a level 1 or 2 source?
Your best bet is to start with their commercial division. For Dial, that's Dial Professional, the Henkel B2B arm.
Why there?
Because the commercial and janitorial line often has way less marketplace restriction than the stuff you see at Walmart. Check their website for a how-to-buy page. They'll often list their big national partners, like a company called Vision Sales.
And what kind of distributors should I be looking for?
Big janitorial and sanitation supply houses. Companies like Imperial Dade, Uno Clean, or HSD Wholesale. They carry the commercial Dial products, the huge soap refill bottles, massive cases of bars. Perfect for FBA volume.
And my goal when I call them is?
Simple. 1, confirm they source directly from Henkel. 2, confirm they're cool with Amazon sales. And 3, verify their invoice quality.
Okay, now for Dove. Owned by Unilever. That's a monster of a company. Finding a direct B2B channel seems way harder.
It is. Unilever is so massive and their distribution is so fractured. So the best approach is often to start with their customer service or sales reps.
Really? Just call them.
Yeah. Call or email and ask for their authorized U.S. wholesale partners who support independent online retail. Use that exact phrase. You're looking for partners who are explicitly allowed to sell to people like you.
And then what kind of companies do I target?
You look for large health and beauty wholesalers that specialize in these brands. You'll see names like Direct Textile Store, UTN Wholesale, or AJ Globals pop up in FBA circles.
And the key questions for them.
Are you authorized by Unilever or a Unilever master distributor? Do you allow Amazon resale? And can you give me an invoice that will pass an Amazon audit?
This brings us to a really practical tool, the outreach scripts. You can't just call up and wing it. You'll sound like a nobody.
You will. You need to sound like a serious business. The scripts are your professional armor.
So script A is for?
Script A is for the brand owner. For level 1, you're calling Henkel. The goal is to be respectful but direct. You ask for their list of authorized distributors and check if they support marketplace channels in general. It shows you're trying to do things the right way.
And script B is for the distributor, like Imperial Dade.
Exactly. That's your level 23 script. This one is all about business. Opening an account, checking MOQs, and specifically confirming invoice compliance. It gives you a checklist of things you need on the invoice for, as you can phrase it, your compliance auditors. You don't even have to say Amazon.
I like that. And then there's a short version.
Yeah, script C. That's your rapid-fire outreach script for when you're vetting like 15 suppliers you found on Wholesale Central at once. It just hits the 3 main points: account requirements, Amazon policy, and invoice format.
Using these strips basically signals that you're a low-risk professional client.
It signals you understand the game. You're not just some guy in his garage hoping to get lucky. You're building a real business with a compliant supply chain.
We have to circle back to the imported product risk, the gray market, because it's still the single biggest landmine here.
It is. Amazon's system is built to stop two things: obvious fakes and these gray market items, legit products sold in the wrong country.
Let's define that again. When we say gray market, we're talking about diverted goods.
Exactly. This is real Dove soap made by Unilever. But it was made for the market in, say, Dubai or Brazil. And then someone, without Unilever's permission, reroutes it back into the U.S. The soap is real, but its paper trail is fraudulent for a U.S. sale, and the packaging often breaks U.S. laws.
What are the dead giveaways beyond the metric weight we already talked about?
Look for different ingredients listed. Different countries have different rules. Non-U.S. barcodes, no English ingredient list. Or if the packaging is just dominated by a foreign language, even if it's real Dove soap, if it was meant for Germany and you list it on the U.S. ASIN, you are committing a violation.
So what's the simple risk mitigation strategy for the average seller who doesn't want to get into all that complexity?
It's so simple. If you look at a product and it's clearly an international version, different UPC, different language, you have two choices. Either become an expert in creating new international ASINs, which is a whole other world, or you pass. For anyone new, the rule is simple. Stick to U.S. market supply from U.S.-based wholesalers that you have vetted, period. It simplifies your compliance so much. If you're not 100% sure, just pass on the deal. The profit isn't worth risking your account.
That's your insurance policy again, and as you grow, you can't just keep this information in your head. You need a system to track all these leads, these approvals, these red flags.
An Excel sheet, a Google sheet, I don't care. But a supplier tracking sheet is non-negotiable. It turns a messy sourcing process into a real B2B pipeline.
What are the must-have columns on that sheet?
You need supplier name, brands they offer, a simple Amazon-allowed YN column. Their source level, are they a master distributor or a regular wholesaler? Invoice quality, just a note that it passes your check, their MOQ. Your estimated profit margins, contact info, and the most important column, red flags.
What goes in there?
Refuse to share their address. Pricing was way too cheap. Only sells metric versions. This sheet becomes your business's brain. It's your risk assessment tool.
And this whole system, this tracking, it all rolls up into one simple formula that you have to burn into your brain.
It's the Amazon equation. It's the whole summary of what we've been talking about.
What is it?
It's good wholesalers plus brand approval plus clean invoices, success on Amazon. A good wholesaler gives you safe stock. Brand approval protects you from IP complaints. And clean invoices protect you from authenticity claims. If you have that trifecta, you have a stable, scalable business.
So to wrap this all up, authenticity on Amazon. It's not a feeling. It's not a guess.
No, it's a stack of paper. Verifiable paper. It's proven by commercial invoices that match your seller central info and show a clean, traceable supply chain. And finding those suppliers isn't magic. It's a structured 7-step process. You use directories to find leads, you vet them with very specific questions, and you start with small test orders to prove their paperwork is legit.
This whole deep dive gives you the tools, from the mindset of comparing a UPC code all the way to the actual scripts you can use on the phone. It's about stopping the risky retail arbitrage chase and starting to build a real, compliant wholesale business that can actually last. Thank you for trusting us and joining us today.
And as you go forward, when you see a simple bar of dial soap in a store, you're not going to see it the same way. You won't see a 99-cent product. You'll see a complex supply chain asset, and now you understand where it's vulnerable. So here's the thought to leave with. If a major supplier is willing to sell a gray market product to an unauthorized seller for a tiny bit of extra profit, what does that really say about their integrity? Keep that question in your mind as you build your sourcing strategy, and always prioritize the health of your account over a risky profit margin.
We'll see you next time on Beyond the Comfort Zone, talking shit with KING-KAMBUF.